Greg Wade in the house. Mr. Gus Gus, good to see you. Hey guys, this is Chris with Cycle Source Magazine. We're getting ready to fire this one up for a Shop Talk episode you are not going to believe. Incredible show tonight. Good to see all you here. Keith Karnoff, Robin Higginbottom, Steve Toth. You guys are powering in. We can't wait. Going live all over the airways here from the Cycle Source Magazine World Headquarters, 50 floors below the street level. Firing up a killer episode. Make sure you hit the like and share button. Let your friends know that we're going live with another episode of Shop Talk in just 3 minutes, 24 seconds. Stick around. Alphonse out of New Mexico checking in. Kenny Sweeney, 114. Sasha Cycles, good to see you here, buddy. Dennis Stauber in the house. Doug Rickett, Walla, Washington. Our pleasure to do the show, man. This is fantastic. I can't believe they let us do all this stuff. This is awesome. 2 wheels, good times. Daytona right around the corner. Shop Talk going live, 2.5. Miss Lisa Ballard, good to see you here. Chop Cult, strong supporter of Cycle Source Magazine and Shop Talk. Love you guys out there. Hey man, if you don't know about Shop Talk, this is a little thing we do every week. 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit. 2-wheel entertainment and more. And you can participate. If you're looking at those comments flying up on the screen right now, you can put your comments in wherever you're watching, Facebook, YouTube, or anything, and they'll come up on the screen there. We'll give you a little shout out. Tell us where you're watching from. Alberta. Ooh, you know it's cold in Alberta. 2 minutes left. We're going live with this one Sunday here at Shop Talk. Mr. Brian Patrick Wade, good to see you, man. Fantastic. What a star-studded lineup tonight. Can't believe it. Missy Shoemaker in the house. Matthew Lucas, New Jersey, represent. We got strong fans out in New Jersey. That's a good place where the pork roll comes from, Mark. Pork roll. I like pork roll. Right on. All right, just a minute left. We're getting ready, man. Last couple tweets here, and we're getting this one up on the road. Poppy B in the house, and that's going to be my final check-in shout-out because we just got 30 seconds left and we're going live. That's a good time to get this one up on the tracks, out of the station, and rolling. Go live with Shop Talk. Here we go. Okay, scooter tramps and chopper jockeys all across the land. It is 9 p.m. or reasonably close to that here on the East Coast. That means it's time for another episode of Shop Talk. I'm your host, Chris Callen. 50 floors below the street level in the Cycle Source Magazine headquarters, coming to you live through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. It's Sunday. Thank God it's Sunday. The crew's here. We're ready to go with a killer show. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Howdy, howdy.
How about it?
Got a little
And 9:02, you get points for it, because like
Right.
as Cycle Source time goes, That counts.
Anthony Robbins
2
even
minutes?
said, "Holy mother of coffee beans." That's right. Still looking for that coffee sponsor.
Less than an hour ago, I was still DAing tank.
You were DAing mini bike tank. You
Yes,
got
sir.
mini bike stank all over you.
I got it going on.
Can I get an amen?
Getting ready to do some paint work.
So yeah, man, we're hard at work on the flying pistons, Iron E custom that we're doing for Maryland Stump and their folks down there for the Builders Breakfast. If you don't know about that, hit them up at the Flying Pistons Instagram. You can find out all about it.
I'm ready.
What else? What's everybody done this week? You done anything cool?
Body work.
We did a bunch of cool stuff. We upgraded an air compressor, and you cleaned the shop, and we moved a whole bunch of stuff. We adulted.
I did get phone calls about somebody messing up wiring in their house. Can you talk me through lighting my house on fire?
Dude, you know what the best thing was? We came up with a new name for Harbor Freight Tool Company.
Oh boy.
I saw Daniel Donnelly's tech article in the magazine this month is how to upgrade your Harbor Freight sandblast cabinet and make it actually work good. I went through this process. It's glorious. It works wonderfully. But now I realize Harbor Freight Tools, which I'm not bagging on, Harbor Freight is great for the working man, but it should be called the Down Payment Tool Company, because you buy that sandblast cabinet for $200, it's really only the first of 3 $200 payments you have to make to actually have a good sandblast cabinet. And
But
I'm here to tell
It was
you.
better than the $1,200 brand new one.
Yeah, but I was like new stuff though. New's good.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
not
it's like
everybody's
new.
rolling in the green, Mark.
Well, when you live up on the hill like I do, Heather.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
It's like new to us. All right, man. So
It's
listen.
awesome. I tested it. It works because it's my cabinet.
This is all small banter right now.
I know.
I'm very.
Are you excited,
Actually,
Mark?
I got some
I am
butterflies.
right in,
I got
right?
some butterflies.
Remember last week whenever you said, speaking of last week, whenever you said me and Chris were having a bit of a man crush, we came to the conclusion that you were having a girl crush, because I think if I remember you stating that you would wear one of everything in that
on that
catalog.
site.
So
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
No,
So
that's
you had
not a
one too.
girl crush.
But
That's just I like clothes.
but today's is a big one, because this guy that we have on is somebody who I've
Speak it,
watched
speak
my
it.
whole life.
Say the words.
Like, the dude's freaking amazing. He's a great driver. He's a great announcer. Apparently a great bike builder. I'm pretty excited. I even made it here early tonight. I never
Right.
make it early.
And you can see in his eyes when you're
Little
talking to
sparkle.
him. There's a little bit of Hellraiser inside of
Oh,
there.
yeah.
I've seen it.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, from the few conversations prior to the show, he's been in the back room with us a few times for
Yep.
some burnouts and some smoking motorcycles
buddy.
and flaming
Amazes
motorcycles.
me that he agreed to come on the show. Apparently, he didn't remember who y'all were because he probably wouldn't be here if
Well,
he did.
Hey, we have a good time. We have a good time when we're out.
There's only 2 of us in the group instead of like 40 like normal.
Belay that skullduggery. All right, man. Hey, listen, like I said, this is Shop Talk. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you, first of all, for being here, supporting us and supporting Two Wheel Entertainment through the Source Media Group. We couldn't do it without you. If you're wondering what Shop Talk is, it is 90 to 120 minutes of all the bullshit we can fit into the show. We have, some entertainment. We do some tech stuff. We talk shop, which is, just like hanging out in the shop with us. We usually start the whole thing off with a little program we like to call the news. First up in the news tonight, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Buell Motorcycles comes back to haunt Harley-Davidson, plans 10 models by 2024. But here's the spoiler alert. No Eric Buell.
Oh boy.
I don't understand.
Focusing on his electric bike.
He's focusing on his electric bike, but man, the coolest Buell I ever rode was the last model that they produced.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff about it, the new owner and everything, blah, blah, blah. But the big deal is we'll be at Bike Week 2021 at the J&P Cycles Destination Daytona Megastore. So come and check them out. I, for one, can't wait to see this. I thought it was the coolest shit in the world. Like I said, we got to ride that. The last model that they put out as Buell Motorcycles, we actually got to ride that at Laguna Seca. What a blast.
Left and right.
left
Do you
and right.
realize that you just said as part of the news, blah, blah, blah?
Well, look, that's why we call you our Robin Quivers. I mean, if anybody expects that we're seriously going to deliver news, like we're going to sit here and say tonight in the motorcycle news, that's not happening.
No, but I will say that for those of you people that actually care, I am posting the news articles in the comments section if you want to take a minute and read them after the show.
That's what
I
we're
was
looking
going to
for.
say, do it after the show.
That's what we're looking for, Heather, is for you to come in and bail us out. Soak up the gravy.
Story of my life.
All right, one more news piece, and then we're going to get to our honored guest this evening. This is real quick news about recalls for BMW. 2011 to 2014, BMW motorcycles might have a fuel leak, and that may be a problem.
I mean, might either when it comes to fuel, you either do or you don't.
Oh my, you guys are terrible.
Close to 21,000 motorcycles involved in the U.S., BMW in North America issued a recall on several models of motorcycles over a potentially leaking fuel pump, according to the details published by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. That's a lot to say on one breath. BMW estimates that about 10% of the 20,963 motorcycles involved in this recall could present the flaw and possibly burst into flames. The models include...
Yeah, you can light a cigarette, I guess. That's one way to look at it.
Recall. So, yeah, Heather's putting a link up. BMW, careful. Don't
You're
smoke.
so
do
professional.
not.
It's like blowing me away.
Do not smoke. Whatever you do.
Okay, so
Smoke and ride.
our first guest tonight can't even believe that we're saying this. Like, what an absolute honor. And we've had some really, really good guests on this show. But man,
Yeah, this guy here might top it.
Right?
Real close. Yeah.
so like you were saying at the beginning of the show, Mark, like absolute legend behind the wheel.
Right.
Now a legend in the announcer's booth, and
This guy's Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He's been a rookie champion. He's been over 50 wins, over 30 some pole sittings. I mean, this guy here is a legend when it comes to going fast, hands down.
and now putting out some of the hottest motorcycles on the
Yeah.
planet. So let's go to him real quick. Our first guest tonight, Mr. Rusty Wallace. Rusty, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing good. Just got back from the race over in Daytona about an hour ago. We had the big road course race. It just happened. A new winner won the race for Joe Gibbs, a kid named Christopher Bell. But yeah, I just finished that up and got back over I got a condo down here in Daytona, which I love coming to Daytona. So I'm here right now and appreciate you guys having me on the show tonight. I really do.
No, absolutely. Listen, I know I speak on behalf of all of our listeners. Tell us good news about Daytona, because we're all getting ready for the motorcycle version, and we want to hear good stuff from the sunshine.
Man, I'll tell you, everybody's jacked up about Daytona. I was up in the announce booth about 2 hours ago, and our head honcho NASCAR, a guy named Mike Helton, came over, and they promote the flat track races over there. And that's going to be on the 12th of March. And he said, man, we got a big spot for you guys to come over. We want you and your buddies to come over and watch the flat track racing and stuff. But today at Daytona, at the Speedway, the governor and everybody, they're only allowing 30,000 fans in the grandstands. Well, man, there's a lot of people, a lot of states that aren't allowing anything in the grandstands, but they allowed 30,000. So we sold all 30,000 seats today. Not me, they sold to 30,000, and it was a great race. It was super exciting, but everybody's jacked up for Bike Week. A lot of talk about it. You know, man, I don't know. I asked earlier, I said, I wonder how many people are going to actually be at Daytona. I've been at Sturgis for 19 years in a row. And, I got this funny feeling there's going to be over 500,000 people at Daytona. I got that feeling because everybody feels all cooped up and they want to get out and get after it. I mean, I'm talking all the top builders that we buy parts from, and they're all building their hottest stuff heading to Daytona. So I think it's going to be a big year. I really do.
Well, this is the big one too. This is 80 Daytona, right?
Yeah. This is definitely one that a lot of people are going to end up going to just for the fact of end of COVID, able to get out of the house and to go down and throw down. Daytona is the place to be. Willie's Chopper Show, hands down one of the best shows anywhere in the country. The Broken Spoke, it's an amazing place to go check shit out. That's for damn sure.
Well, we're going to be at the Broken Spoke Yeah, I started with Brian Patrick Wade, a great fella out of California and different areas, a star in the movie industry, and he's my partner. I'm actually his partner in our brand new startup, Southern Country Customs. So we're building street glides, road glides, high-end baggers, a lot of power. We're buying from some of the top builders. We're buying from Trask, Top Shop, Arlen Ness, Paul Yaffe, just to name a few. And we just love this stuff. And I got involved in this thing probably about a year ago. Got involved with the company, didn't work out. I said, man, let's get the band back together and keep on going. And Brian said, I'll be your partner. And then my son, Steven, he turned into the master builder. So I took my old NASCAR race shop. We turned it into a motorcycle building shop. So it's myself and Brian Patrick Wade. Lee Gibbs is selling for us.
No kidding.
And Steven, my son. And so we're doing this deal. And we're all jacked up. We're going to be at the Broken Spoke all set up, probably starting around March the 5th through the entirety of it. But it's kind of a new venture for me. But I just love bikes, man. I mean, like I said, 19 years in a row going to Sturgis. And NASCAR's chairman of the board, Mike Helton, is the one who first started taking this. It was me and Dale Jr. and Tony Stewart and all those guys started going. They kind of fell off the wagon. Then my buddy, my big drag racing buddy, Don the Snake Perdome, and myself and a fellow by the name of Walker Evans, a big 10-time off-road world champion with the Baja 1000. We all started going to Sturgis. And we went crazy, man. It's turned into a huge deal for us. And now it's so huge that we're involved in this business. And I'm telling you, man, I'm just not going to build nothing unless it's perfect. And I think we're building some really badass hot rods. And we're going to have probably about 12 of them in Daytona to Spoke on display.
So wait a minute. I got to go back for a second. You go to Sturgis with Don Perdome.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine the two of you loose on that town.
The Snake. He's just such a cool dude. He's just awesome.
My
man.
question is,
that guy is just fantastic. We do a lot of riding. We ride about 300 miles a day. And
do you race everywhere you go, or do you guys have to?
Yeah, we like taking out of we take out of Deadwood. We'll head Deadwood on down to Hill City. We'll go to Hill City, all back through them roads and all that, and just have a great time. But I got my big charity ride happening too with Rod Woodruff, Buffalo Chip. This will be the third one we've done. It's going to happen out. We're going to take off in Black Hills Harley out in Sturgis in Rapid City. And this will be the third one. And all the money we raise goes to Special Olympics, Rapid City, and the other half of the money goes to the NASCAR Foundation. Everything we do is to raise money for children.
Right on.
And so I'm really, really excited about it. But the whole Sturgis thing got me going. And there's a graphic right there with Woody. He signed that. And that's our first ride when we did that with the chip. And we did the second one. First time we started out of right there downtown Rapid City. Then last year we left out of Black Hills Harley, and we're going to do that again this year. So, and we're building a special charity bike. It's going to be a really nice bike, probably a 26. We'll build, with all the hot stuff on it, and a lot of the vendors that get involved in donating stuff for it because it's going to be a charity bike. But it's going to be beautiful. And Brian Wade, my partner, he's a great designer in my opinion. He's got a really good sense for what looks cool, and he's done about all the bikes we're doing right now. In fact, I'm building, and I'm just about finished, a really hot 21 fat tire with the 131. We took the 131 crate and put the change of pistons 11-1, change of cam, put Jim's V-Twins cam in it. It's going to make about 170 horsepower. It's not a turbo or nothing, but it's a good little hot rod. And it's going to be a beautiful bike, and it's about done. My son Steven built himself a really cool 30 front wheel with a incredible sound system bike. And so he's got a lot of guys involved helping him with that. And I just talked to him a little while ago. He was on the way back from Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. He was up there getting the system tuned and worked on it, all that. So, and I just finished Daytona, so we're all busy. But man, the bike stuff, all we're talking about is getting ready for bike week and getting down here to bike week. And
with you being involved in racing as much as you are, what's the chances one of these baggers you're building getting into the bagger racing series?
Yeah.
You know, I watched that a lot. You know, I really did, because I'm really impressed by some of the builders that put their heart and soul into it. I thought Trask did a really cool bike. You know, and I can just go on and on about the builders, but it's a whole different deal. When I got involved, then it was all just, you know, hot rod baggers, you know, and a lot of music and stuff. And now they took these baggers and turned them into road race bikes.
How about
I'm not really understanding all that yet, but I really can appreciate the quality of work they're doing.
Oh, it's off the charts.
And I'll tell you one of the best things about it, because we have the benefit of having Rob Bidos, who was a major force behind that first race at Laguna Seca. But Rob has started a thing now called the Bagger Racing League, him and Drag Specialties, and they're putting on, you know, races around the country. One of the best things about it, though, was hearing from the inside how, you know, the traditional racers at Laguna Seca and, you know, the whole MotoGP crowd were watching the Harley guys show up, and they were expecting them to be on bikes that were going to blow up and puke oil, and they went out and were only a few seconds behind the lap times of the fast guys. So, like, it's a legitimate thing now. I mean, this is definitely not just a smoke and mirrors show.
Chris, you know, they're going to make them faster and faster and faster and get lighter. What are they down to now? About 750 pounds? Is that what I'm hearing?
What did he say, Heather? Rob told us how much weight they took off those bikes. I thought
it was actually just under. I mean, they had dropped a lot of weight, under 600.
Yeah,
under 700 pounds.
Yeah,
like in the mid sixes, I believe.
Dude, that's a lot of weight for all that bike.
Buddy.
Oh
yeah. I tell you, those builders, those guys. I mean, I'm not going to single anybody out, except they're all great at what they do.
Yeah.
The CNC stuff they're doing now, and it's just incredible. I actually watched a video today. I was getting ready to go live on air today in Daytona. Had about 30 minutes before we went live, and I brought up the shop tour of Trask out there in Arizona and looked at all his machines and stuff. I said, man, this guy is serious, you know.
Boy, they've come a long way too, man.
Oh, yeah.
They really have.
I mean, the consistency those guys do is really, really hot stuff. In fact, we have here at Southern Country Customs, I think we installed 2 or 3 of the Trask. I know we've done 2 for sure. We got a really hot rod in the shop right now with new Trask turbo. It's all tuned with Thundermax on it and stuff. A really nice bike. But that's just one of the builders. The guy that really got me jacked up in most all this stuff, like I said, was Kelton. I built my first bike for me was Paul Yaffe. And Paul built me a really cool 26 bike. Had my Miller colors on it. There's the Trask bike right there. That's the one that's in the shop right now. We just finished the 18 fat tire. That's a rocket ship. That thing really runs. Going to an owner out in Colorado. See the bags, how they got the mountains painted on the bottom of the bags. That's what he wanted.
Yeah.
And so, that's one of the Trask bikes we just finished. But if he got me involved in all this stuff. And then I got involved with the builder in Charlotte and moved on from there. And now we're doing our own stuff. But I just love this stuff, man. I'm hooked. I don't know what to say. I'm hooked.
It gets you.
You said Yaffe built your first bike. So how long have you been riding motorcycles?
Oh, I've been riding motorcycles now for since 1992 is when I first started riding them. And like I say, it all started with, I tell you how I got my first bike. I got a 93 Dyna Wide Glide Anniversary Edition. I won 10 races in NASCAR in 1993. And the Miller Brewing Company called up Tilly Harley-Davidson in Statesville, North Carolina. And they said, we hear Rusty's getting excited about bikes. We want to give him a motorcycle for all those pole positions he got in 1993.
Right
so they gave me this beautiful silver and red. You know what those things look like, right? Those Dynas. Yep. So I got one of those. You know what they did the next year? So I went all the races. And then I went on to win a bunch of pole positions. So then they bought me a Fat Boy. And they painted it all up in the Miller beer colors and gave me that. So I got 2 bikes from the Miller Brewing Company. And then that got me really.
You can blame
really
all this on them then. So you can blame
Do
this.
what?
You can blame all this addiction on Tilly. Then.
Yeah,
It's
I
it's
really
their fault.
blame all the addiction on the Miller Brewing Company, who was sponsoring me, all the Miller Lite guys, And then that's where it started.
I've heard a lot of people say they blame their addiction on the Miller Company. So you're not the first person I've heard say that. So
I drank my share of Miller. I can say that.
Wait, on an outside, outside of the motorcycling, like everything that you've achieved racing, what like stands out for you? What is one thing that you look back and say, like, dude, this is
That was it.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I mean, like I said, your pole positions, we were kidding around you were one of the only people to do the Polish victory lap. I mean, which to me is awesome, changing it up. And like, what's something that stands out for you and says, in the history of this is, that's it. This was the one thing.
Mark, I'm going to say, all these drivers come up with it to think about races that they've ran that were spectacular, or good or bad or whatever. But I'm gonna think it was 1994. They just repaved the track up in Michigan, and it's a 2-mile track. And my car owner back then, Roger Penske, owned the track, and they repaved it. It was a poor pavement job. The asphalt was tearing all up. But bottom line, it took off. And I had a really fast hot rod that day. That thing was screaming around the racetrack, and I led. I led down the lap, 14 to go, and all of a sudden I started running out of fuel, and we just miscalculated really bad on the fuel mileage, and something went wrong. I don't know if we didn't get it filled up enough in the last stop or whatever, but it started running out, and so I hit pit road. I come off at turn 4 about right at 200 miles an hour. Just grabbing gears, man. Just on the brakes, down to third gear, second gear, trying to get a splash of gas to make it to the end. As soon as I come out pit road, some dude wrecks in turn 1, brings out the caution plate. So holy smoke. So my guys, I come down, they start putting fuel in it. The thing wouldn't light. So finally they jumped over with a can of ether and blowing it down the carburetor, and the thing lit. And I'll never forget looking in my mirror, and I drug my crew chief. His belt got hooked on the hood hinge in the front, and it drug him down pit road, and he tumbled down pit road.
Oh my God.
So we restarted the race with 11 to go, and I was back to like 12th or something. And my big arch rival, my buddy, Dale Earnhardt Sr., is leading the race. I passed 2 cars a lap. The next lap, I passed another car. Next lap, I passed another car. Bottom line, I go into turn 3, last lap, checkered flag waving. And I went in and I straddled the asphalt that was all tore up. It was all ripped up. And I put my oil pan right over top of that. I caught him off at turn 4, raced him off at turn 4, beat him to the line by about 2 or 3 cars, and I won the damn race.
Oh,
wow.
And man, you talk about, it was so big, it was unreal. It was just, I pulled into victory lane, and my crew chief, Buddy Parrott back then, walks up, and he's got his hat on sideways, and his glasses are crooked like this, and the lenses are broke out of him because I drug him down pit road, tumbling down pit road after he got the gas, they're putting their ether down a carburetor. So that was one crazy race. And then the one that stands out a lot is the year that, when I finished 3rd in the Daytona 500, and Earnhardt got killed in that corner.
Oh,
I remember that.
We ripped through that corner, and I just passed him, and I pulled into 3rd. I finished 3rd in the 500. I'm like, man, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
And I had no idea that he had lost his life in that corner.
Yeah, that was a devastating day, I think, for all of racing in all reality. Still,
it was. And then a highlight when I retired. I retired in 05, and then 2013 they inducted me into the NASCAR Hall of Fame, and that was such a big deal because you had all your peers, and you had all the people that liked you and all the people who didn't like you, and then all of a sudden being a good guy or a bad guy or whatever they thought of you, you were just rusty then. You were a racer, and you were a Hall of Famer, and that just felt so good,
Well, the other question is, when you have dinner with your family with all those brothers racing, I mean, that's got to be, what do you guys race to get done first? Or, that's got to be pretty awesome, though, because
my brother Mike is real competitive, and my brother Kenny, everybody knows Kenny. Kenny's coming to bike week with me. He's going to stay with me right here at the condo, and he's going to ride one of my bikes, and he's so excited about it he can't see straight. We're building a new trailer for Southern Country customers right now, and it'll be done next Friday, and it's getting finished up in St. Louis. And Kenny's been over there every day checking on it for me, making sure it's all looking good and everything, which I appreciate.
Yeah. What a history. I mean, to be able to do what you've done in NASCAR, with your kids? You have a son you have only one son that races, or?
Well, actually, my son Greg, he tried racing and actually did real good, but he said, you know what? I'm going to go to college instead. So he did that. He went to Wake Forest, actually.
Yeah.
And then my youngest son, Steve, he said, no, I'm a racer, man. I'm all into it. So Steven won a bunch of races and short tracks and ran really good in the Xfinity series, they call it now. And then when we lost the sponsorship stuff back in the day, we said, screw it. And he got excited about these bikes. And man, he has been wide open throttle on the motorcycles. And he is building some beautiful motorcycles, really cool stuff.
Yeah. What a great, I guess, life and a career and everything. And yet to come back into this and to be able to sit and talk with you and you to be as down to earth. People are like, oh my God, you're going to talk to Rusty Wallace. What are you going to ask him? I'm like, well, it's about motorcycles and cars, obviously. But to be as down to earth as you are, like coming to the broken spoke. It's super, super easy to talk with you, and which makes it way easier for us, obviously.
No, well, thanks. I appreciate that. I mean, you got to have a passion, man.
Yeah.
I mean, and I love my race cars. That's what's made me my money. I got 8 car dealerships up in Knoxville, Tennessee area right now. It all came from those 9 races that I won in the Bristol, Tennessee area. That was been one of my best tracks. And
one
so
of my
I built
favorite
a following
tracks,
up there.
right.
So I do that. And then, hey, Rusty, what do you do for fun? Well, this is my fun. These motorcycles are my fun. It's everything to me.
So let's go back to that for a minute, because we had Walter Coro actually asked this question, and I was sort of leaning to it before you even brought it up. How much influence was Don Tilley on you for motorcycles, and what kind of motorcycle? And
Don Tilley was a great friend of ours. He was a great friend of NASCAR. He was a great friend of Kyle Petty. He was a great friend of Mike Helton. He's a great friend of myself, Harry Gant, one of the racers, a lot of people in the North Carolina area. And he was a real horsepower king. And this is great that we're talking about this, because I said, well, okay, what am I going to put in my new build? I said, well, man, let's go get a 131 crate, and let's make that thing run, And so let's get all the right pieces and parts. And so I said, okay, we'll go to Jim's over there in Mooresville, who used to be Mooresville, North Carolina, who actually, Jim's V-Twins, he was my engine builder with Team Penske for a while.
Oh,
no kidding.
Yeah, listen to that stuff. And then he went to work for Chip Ganassi on his NASCAR stuff. Then he said, you know what? I love Harleys, so I'm going to start my own company. And that's what Jim did. He's making some good stuff. So I use Jim's stuff, and I use T-Man. T-Man makes an incredible product.
T-Man.
Everybody knows T-Man makes some badass stuff.
If you've been to Bonneville at all, you know that cat.
Yeah, T-Man. He's the dude. And so we use all those guys' products. But anyway, I went and bought all this stuff. I said, man, I don't have time to assemble all this stuff because I got to build this. So I took everything up to Tilley. My kid built a real hot rod 128. Steven did. He pineappled all the cylinder heads, got the right cam and the pistons. We're using the new Man of War compensator out of the Dark Horse crankshafts up in Elkhart, Indiana, right by the racetrack that I go to every now and then, a road course track.
Yeah.
So up there, we're using Barnett stuff and all that. And so we give it all to Tilley. And we said, you put it all together. And it was really cool because they went back into Don's engine shop and brought all the equipment out. And they built my 131 hot rod motor. It's in my new bike that I'm bringing to Daytona. And they built Steve's new 128 that we're bringing to Daytona. And they did everything at Tilley, assembled everything, came over. We hooked all the computers up and fired everything up, and everything ran like $1 million. And all the guys at Don Tilley's place did that for us. And boy, it's just, and you know what? Those guys were excited because when we lost Don, it's kind of like they really lost a big part, and for them to be able to get back involved in the performance, you could see the look in their eyeballs that they were like, man, we're back in the game. This is cool,
Well, that was performance and racing was the lifeblood that pumped through that place. And I'll tell you, to share one quick personal story, way, way early on, the very first big mountain run we ever did, which was our big annual event. One of the most sobering moments I ever had in motorcycling was going into Don's place, into the back of the place, and standing beside Lucifer's hammer with him, with his hand on it and my hand on it, and talking about that motorcycle and all the things that bike had ever done and seen, man. Like, that was it. Yeah. That was it. And there was no mistaking the passion that he had for all this stuff. If you have a 10-minute conversation with that man.
He was so smart at everything. I'll never forget, we're out in Sturgis and we're riding one day and Don's with us and he's kind of leading our ride. And it started raining. It started raining really hard. And I had with me? I had Clint Boyer and I had Tony Stewart and had a couple of others with me. And they said, man, we're pulling over. And Don said, hell with them, man. Come on, let's keep on rolling. He told me, he said, take your wallet, put it in your front pocket. He said, do this and do that. Just follow me. I said, okay. So we just kept on rolling and we got back to base camp. And when we got back to base camp, here this guy show up about 2 hours later. Me and Don are sitting there drinking a beer. And he said, you put your wallet in your front pocket, just keep that son of a bitch straight. And he said, it'll dry out and you'll be just perfect, man. No problem. And he taught me a lot about that stuff.
That's awesome.
All the racing, all the driving, you said 200 mile an hour, this or that. I mean, obviously a big difference between riding in that cage with that steering wheel in your hand to riding on a bike. What's the fastest you've ever been on a motorcycle?
Oh, man. I can't lie to you. I haven't been really fast on a motorcycle. I've been like 130 on a motorcycle. That's about it. I mean, I haven't, keeping these baggers going that quick in a straight line is a pretty tough deal to do.
Yeah, right.
So, hey, there's one of our new 26s. That's a hot rod bike right there. We'll be bringing that one down. That's got the new VIP Alliance Sega front wheel on it. It's got it's a 114 motor with I believe that one there's got, I don't know if that's got a T-man cam or if that's got a Jim's cam in it, but they run really good. Make about 130 horsepower, that one there. But nice paint. Chris Fox out of Salisbury, North Carolina does all the paint. That's got Top Shop body kit on it. That'd be one of the bikes we'll have there.
Yeah, you're really building some killer bikes. You really are. It's nice to see the flair. The flair you guys put into it. Like they're sharp motorcycles. It's not just
it's stamping stuff.
Well, I'll tell you that's Brian that does Brian Patrick, man. Brian Patrick Wade. I can't believe I talked to my buddy's Brian Wade, but I'm using his center name because that's what they know him of in this movie industry.
Yeah.
That green bike. Can you go back that one?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can or not. Anyway, that green bike he just popped up there, that's one of our 26s. And that one there, Dave Kindig from Bitch and Ride. Do you know him?
I heard him.
TV show, the big TV show, Bitch and Ride. That's his agent's motorcycle. We built him that one.
Oh, right on.
And so we'll have that bike in Daytona too on display. That one there's got a set of Covington pipes on it. And our other motorcycles have got the ones we build. We're building some new stainless pipes right now. But Covington builds some beautiful pipes too. He makes some nice stuff, and we buy from all the builders, man. We're a big drag specialties dealer, LaPera seat dealer. We got we're a Dark Horse dealer. We like all these guys makes Trask dealer. They all make good stuff.
Well, let's talk about that because as soon as you talk about coming out with bikes and stuff, everybody wants to know what do you do? What do you do in the shop? So what's available from Southern Country Customs?
Well, right now, I mean, Brian does almost all the ordering exclusively at Southern Country Customs, getting our pieces and parts put together. I lately have been in there building a bike for myself. My son Steven basically builds most all the bikes with his helpers in the shop, and so we're building 18 fat tires, 26. Been building a lot of road glides because the customers like to put a lot of audio up in the fairing, and we can fit more audio in a road glide than we street glide. But we built really smoking street glides too. But I've been really involved in this new build for Daytona, and like I said, it's a 21 fat tire. HHI did a lot of work with me, helping design the rake and the trail on the bike to make sure it handles right. I really want to thank those guys for all the help they gave us. Built some really cool stuff. Shane out at AF Customs out in Bakersfield, you know him? Yeah, but he makes some really cool stuff. AF Customs out in Bakersfield, California. He built me a set of 2-inch handlebars for my brand new bike. You ought to see these babies. I mean, they were sexy looking handlebars, man. They fit so nice, it's unreal. And I don't think the industry's seen that. I was watching one of the Holden bikes. Remember that Holden bike out in Sturgis last year? Did you guys see that?
Yep.
That was a really cool bike, and that had 2-inch square handlebars. And Shane over there at AF Customs built those, but he built me a set of 2-inch round ones. But I like dealing with all these builders. They think out of the box, and it's fun stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing some of the products that are available for these things today. And we
That's
talk
my two
about
bike.
Yeah,
That's a hot rod bike. That started life. That's a 114 motor with a T-man cam in it, 23 fat tire, painted all up with the number 2 in the tank, and great bike. Runs like $1 million. That particular bike's got Covington on pipes on it. Real nice audio in it. And that's the bike I rode in Bike Week at the beginning of the year. I'm sorry, in November. Was it November? October. Yeah, when we're down here. We're down here for 6 or 7 days, and I rode that bike the whole time. That bike could be in Daytona also. That's a real nice bike.
Whose suspension are you doing your own suspension? Whose suspension are you using?
But that one there had an HHI inverted front end on it, that particular bike, and it's got American suspension air shocks in the back of it.
Yeah.
You know, we're using Dirty Bird and American suspension, probably more Dirty Bird lately, I would say, but that particular bike's got American suspension on it. And it rode really, really nice too. So they're all really, really good products. You know, I'm kind of searching around right now for the swing arm that I really want to settle in on. We've been running air in the tanks on the swing arm instead of external tanks.
yeah.
I don't know if that's the right thing to do or not. You know, I'm second guessing that. Really liked seeing Traska's new swing arm pop out just a couple of days ago that at least I saw. That's a really cool piece, and I might be venturing into that deal.
Right on. So, tons of comments and you know, just people throwing up kudos and talking about your career and everything. A few questions though. Mark just asked one about the suspension. Chris No is asking, where and when are you showing your bikes in Daytona?
Okay, they're all going to be at the Broken Spoke starting on March the 5th. That's what we're angling at. We'll be setting up over the Broken Spoke. And as you come into Spoke, we'll be right on the left-hand side, right to the left of the main stage. If you're on the stage looking out, we'll be to the right. If you drive in, we'll be to the left. And we'll be there the whole every single day of Bike Week. That's our plan, and we're real excited about it. And I want to give a shout out to the guys from SR Parat, who's the big Miller distributor. They're the ones helping me with all this. When I was driving NASCAR, Miller Brewing Company, their big distributor in Daytona, was really behind me, and they're really helping me with this also. So this is going to be a nice deal over there at Spoke.
Well, and that's one thing I want to mention to everybody is the day of our chopper show, our custom bike show at the Broken Spoke. If you happen to stop by and see the bikes and you don't get to run into Rusty, you're going to be spending a little bit of time with us the day of our chopper show on Tuesday, right? Tuesday?
Our custom bike show is not just a chopper show.
Yeah.
It's open to all classes.
Ladies and gentlemen, my wife.
Is Tuesday, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong, Rusty, but I think Sherry gave me the rundown of your schedule. You're going to do, you and Brian are going to do a little meet and greet during the Perowitz Paint Show on Wednesday, and then again on Friday at the Dennis Kirk Garage Build Bike Show.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah. And also we'll be out at PJ's or JMP Cycles out there by Rossmeyer's place doing a deal with a brand new watch company that I got all excited about, that I heard about. It's called Hog Watch, and you take your key fob out of your motorcycle and put it into it. It's a really cool looking 44 millimeter watch, which I like a lot. And so we'll be there doing that. And then we're going to make an appearance also over there at Full Throttle on the pier one afternoon, which I don't have all the dates, but you know, we're going to have fun. And you know, we're going to be down Main Street Station in Daytona. That was Bill France Sr.'s with NASCAR's old garage back in the day, and those guys were all our buddies.
Really? I didn't know
so we're
that.
going to hang out down there at Main Street Station.
Oh, that's
And
cool.
we're going to ride and just have a good time with everybody. So that's our deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is, like I said, in coming into the show, this is, for all the guys we've had on the show, this has been a real treat for us, man.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, something's really, look at that uniform, man. See Harley on the front of that thing?
Yes, sir.
You know who did that? Willie G did that uniform.
Oh, yeah.
And Willie G and myself got together and did a 883 Sportster. We did I think we sold about 100 or something 883 Sportsters and made them all Miller January draft, flames on them and stuff. And what a cool guy too. I saw him out at where did I saw him? I saw him 2 years ago out there at the out in Sturgis at the Chip. for the flat track races. He showed up for the flat track dirt races out there, and I was there that night. What a fun time we had talking about that venture we did back with Miller.
Boy, he was another one, man. For all the years that I've seen Willie out at events and everything, he seemed like one of the guys that never ran out of energy. He was never too tired at the end of the day to talk to one more person, to sign one more thing. Like, he never ran out of energy at all this stuff.
Yeah, after the what was the 48 promotion.
Yeah,
I didn't think we were ever going to be invited to another Harley thing ever again. We hands down wrecked that place, and he loved every minute of it. Like,
he was egging us on.
Yeah, when it was all over, he was like, "Dude, you guys rock!" Or I don't remember what we were all so drunk. I don't remember what we said. But he was at the bottom of the steps, and we were riding the tables down the steps. He's like, "You guys are crazy." Like, yeah, that's what happens when you feed the fire. He's a lot of fun.
What happens when you're really having some fun?
Oh,
right?
dude, we dropped to our.
They've grown up since then.
Yeah, we dropped to our knees and sang "You've Lost That Loving Feeling" to Kelly McGinnis.
Yeah. Listen, how can you not do that?
Oh,
though?
I know. Then they didn't have enough alcohol, so we went to the state store and bought a bunch of half gallons of Jack Daniels, and we had a pizza party fight. He stood in the corner and just watched us like, look at these idiots go.
But that was the best. So it was a thing in New York, and it was like, you know how they do fancy press stuff in New York, and they had Kelly McGinnis there. It's just like a celebrity hanging out, and the group of us went sliding across the floor
on our
You've
knees.
Lost that love and feeling.
We blew the doors open, and she was standing on the other side of the door and
called us all assholes.
Oh yeah, and then he pulled us aside and said that Cycle Source is the only magazine I had on the plane with me. That's exactly what he said before he left. We're like, oh god, he's gonna burn the plane down.
Right?
Yeah, right. He's gonna burn the plane down with that next time. So,
That was a fun project. I'll never forget when we did that thing with Miller Brewing Company and Willie G. He was so kind to us, and we sold a lot of those bikes and did a lot of charity work again. You know, I do a ton of charity work with kids stuff, and I really enjoyed that. But Willie was right involved in all that. He was involved in designing that gas tank and the paint and all that thing, and the front of that uniform that I wore. That was a cool deal.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can't wait to see you in Daytona. I can't wait to. I actually like to get on one of your motorcycles and do a test review for it for the magazine and maybe some video stuff if that's available.
Hey, that's no problem at all. We'd love to have you do that.
Awesome.
Right now, another reason I'm bummed I'm not going to Daytona.
I know. You're gonna end up kicking my ass after this show. I know.
Whatever.
Maybe Sturgis, Mark.
I'm definitely.
We'll be at Sturgis too. Then we'll be back at Daytona again. You know, in the fall.
Yep.
Yeah, I never say, boy, I'm bummed I'm going to miss an event. You know, like, when have you ever heard me say I'm bummed I'm going to miss an event? You got to pry me out of the garage with a pair of pliers half the time.
Oh.
So.
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time tonight. We've kept you probably longer than we should have. You had a full day already with the race. And tell everybody about that for one quick second. So what was the difference with the race today?
So what happened, man? This was really strange today. We were in the Daytona 500 last week, okay? Well, the next race scheduled was the California 500 out in Fontana, California. Well, the governor out there wouldn't let any fans in the grandstands, and they made it really rough on NASCAR to do anything.
Yeah.
So NASCAR said, okay, well, it's just a weird year, man. Screw it. We're just not going to go to California this year because we can't make anything work out.
Wow.
So what they decided to do for the makeup race, for the loss of the California race, is to bring it back to Daytona and race these cars on a road course. And so, man, they put one hell of a race on the day. It was incredible. And so it's over. And now the next scheduled race is Homestead, Florida next weekend.
Yeah.
So we've been in Daytona or Florida now for 6 straight weeks racing. And but it was a great race today, and that's what I did. And I'm what I do, I'm the racing analyst for NASCAR. I work with the Motor Racing Network, the voice of NASCAR, and I'm on the radio, and I'm their analyst. And so I've done that for 7 years now, outside of the car dealerships and the motorcycle stuff, and keeps me involved in NASCAR, a sport that I love a ton, you know.
Right on.
Well, you've definitely dominated it. That's for damn sure. So,
well, you guys make sure until we bring you more stuff from Daytona, get out to southernCountryCustoms.com. Make sure you hit them up there. Hit up the Instagram page. You can find more about these hot rod motorcycles they're building. Keep up with CycleSource.com. We'll be bringing you a lot of live stuff from Daytona.
So, Chris, real quick, I think when you ride one of their bikes, Rusty should ride one of your long choppers.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that sounds like a deal right there.
I think
You
that's
got
a
hooked
deal.
up, Heather, right?
All right, man. Well, listen, thank you so much. Very honored to have you on the show with us.
most
And
definitely.
anytime that you want to come back to talk about, the charity rides that you're doing for the kids or anything, you're more than welcome. We're thrilled to have you here.
All right, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, Rusty,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Thanks, Rusty.
Fantastic. So if you guys are just tuning in, you missed a hell of an interview. Rusty Wallace building some incredible motorcycles through the Southern Country Customs. I'm tongue-tied. I'm so flabbergasted about that. That was awesome.
That's what made me do 5,335 takes the other day trying to do the damn promo.
I know, right? So this is Shop Talk. I want to thank you guys for watching. We still got a lot more show to go through, but I want to thank our sponsors, Dennis Kirk, for the use of the studio this evening. Bunch of stuff to get to, and real quick, we're going to cut over to James Simonelli from Twin Power, and we're going to get a little tech in.
Hey man, what you doing? Just going over the sporty, tightening up some fasteners and stuff. Doesn't get a whole lot of maintenance, so we'll kind of look after it.
Yeah, it's a nice bike. Hey, I got a question for you. How do I know when I need to adjust my lifters?
What kind of bike we talking?
I got a Dyna, 2007.
Well, loaded question there, because from the factory they have non-adjustable push rods. Okay, everything is a fixed length. It's got a hydraulic lifter, so essentially it requires no adjustment. Now, of course, everybody hot rods these things. First thing they do is put a cam in it and a set of adjustable push rods. Hydraulic lifters got about 200 thousandths travel. The object is you want to set the piston about halfway travel, about, give or take 100 thou down, depending on, everyone's got their preference. But the initial adjustment should be good. Follow your manufacturer's instructions. If it's a 32 tooth per inch push rod, usually it's no up and down shake and 3.5 to 4 turns down. And if they're quiet, everything should be good. Now, if you've had the motor apart or it's got a lot of miles on it and maybe the valves are starting to pound into the seats a little and the stem heights change a little bit, it's a good idea to back them off and adjust them. But as a general rule of thumb is if they're not making any noise and the bike's not exhibiting any weird tendencies that you would associate with like a tight valve, like a loss of compression, etc. But typically, hydraulics take care of themselves.
All right, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, I want to thank Twin Power for coming in and giving us some tech tonight. Keeping this legit as a garage show. We say shop talk, but we want to get as much shop talking in as we can. Lots to get to, right? I'm still overwhelmed by that last interview, I gotta say.
Yeah, that was.
Mark is actually genuinely smiling and excited. That's such a nice treat.
You better stop while you have the chance.
You're gonna pay for this for the next 3 weeks.
Shit's gonna go down. I'm telling you right now.
I know. I need to find another Mark.
It's
hero.
rare.
Like once a quarter, I need to get somebody that Mark actually likes.
So it's
Are
rare.
there that many people, or is there once a quarter?
Yes, it's something like that. I mean, but in all reality, like the bikes, bike's been a part of my life pretty much my whole life. But anybody that knows me knows my cars are, I like cars. I'm into the four wheels. I'm into racing and stuff like that. So it's sort of, this is bringing a little bit of my other half in, which is pretty awesome.
Okay, so we were, right before we brought Mr. Wallace on, we were in the middle of some news. We have a few more pieces I want to get to real quick before we get to our next guest. If you guys will stick with us here. I guess I could start that off like we do. Next up in the news, Harley-Davidson the Big Reveal is tomorrow.
Everybody's waiting for this.
You guys have been waiting. Nope, that's the wrong one.
Nope, that's the right
Can
one.
I get an amen?
So tomorrow is the big announcement of the Pan Am, and you can check it out. through their website. They're doing a big international reveal thing. Heather?
So we're gonna tune into that tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to give you a better report on that next week.
What are we all
and
expecting?
I know, what's that?
What are you expecting? I mean, what do you think? What do you think they're gonna?
I think a lot of people are excited about this one because it's the closest thing to an adventure bike that Harley's come. And I think
that's
even
not
Chris
true.
would be well, recently.
That's not true because in
Recently?
the Buell Ulysses, they
Okay, but
did
Buell's
have.
not been made for
I'm just saying.
years.
Not
I
hating.
said recently. Open your ears.
Not hating, just saying.
Then beyond that, there was a Harley-Davidson with a Rotex motor that they. It was kind of a military deal, but it was pretty modern.
You're just an argumentative little brat. Stop
just-
listening to Mark.
I'm in a good mood tonight for a minute.
I know. No, but I mean, Chris, you even said that you're interested in seeing
I am.
this one.
I am
Yeah,
because
so-
I believe it's gonna be a pivot point. You know what I mean? Like this is another brand new market that Harley's jumping into. In spite of all my rhetoric just now, it's a brand new market they're jumping into. BMW has firmly held that place. They're in that space and they're in it to win it. The price and the performance of their product is there.
Otherwise, the gas tank catch on fire. But I mean, you know,
Drew Woodford said Buell is back. Yes, Drew, we were talking about that earlier in the show.
Day late, dollar short, Drew.
I'll bring that up for you here, though. Buell is coming back, but it's coming back without Eric, and that sucks.
yeah, that's sort of weird.
But
I mean, Eric is Buell.
Eric Buell.
Yeah, get it? Eric is Buell.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna let the news take a break for a while and take a real quick break. When we come back on the other side, we're gonna have our next guest for the hour. Don't go anywhere. This is Shop Talk coming to you live through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Don't go anywhere.
I guess it was about 1958 or so. I was 13 years old. A friend had a homemade motor scooter. He let me ride it, and I just was taken by that. There were garage builders everywhere before the pros took over. Especially bikes and hot rods, you had to have friends that did all the different things. There's nothing in a Harley showroom I want, but if you tell me about a box, some boxes in the shed, man, I'll beat you there, you know. And then it was that fun and that personal pride that you took a basket case and you made something out of it. You know, anybody can go buy one of those, but you got to build one of these. And that's the difference. Dennis Kirk is really amazing because so many things. There's a variety of parts, the speed, the ease of ordering. You know, you pick up the phone and just whip out a part number and it's in your shop in a day or two. I'm Ed Fish, and I'm from Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and I'm a Dennis Kirk garage builder.
We're ready to race. What's your strategy? Go fast.
The Fueling name has been associated with racing and high-performance engines since 1974, when founder Jim Fueling started fueling the flames. From Daytona to Monaco, from the Bonneville Salt Flats to the Indy 500. Fueling is here to compete. Look for the Flying Pig to run up front this year with pilot Ben Bosman. Fueling. No bullshit, just performance.
Okay, we're back. Another killer episode of Shop Talk. Thank you guys for being here with us. Nancy Weems, thank you. Even digs the commercials. So, Shop Talk, if you're enjoying the stuff that we're doing here, this is only one of the programs that we offer from the Source Media Group. Again, on Tuesdays, we engineer a show for Chris Summer-Simmons and Michael Lichter, Coast to Coast, Women and Motorcycles Through History. It's a great show. Wednesday nights, we engineer a show for Rob Nussbaum and Jason Sims, the Motorcycle Cannonball Chronicles.
The Flannel Mafia.
The Flannel Mafia. But great programs. We do a bunch of stuff with Grease and Gears Garage. If you're digging what we're doing, subscribe to our YouTube or Facebook channel. You can see some more. If you are in need of motorcycle television, motorcycle entertainment, you're stuck in the house, you've already completed Netflix like I have, then go over to our partners at Chopper Town. Make sure you hit them up, because in addition to carrying all of our programs, they're carrying tons of other people that are doing stuff like us, like Dave and Jody Pirowitz do Chopper History. Rick Fairless does a show on there. Gina Woods. Jackie Van Ham does a show. Bunch of great stuff. Go over to
I
Chopper
can't wait
Town,
till
check it out.
Daytona and all the live stuff we're going to be able to bring everybody.
Walter Curro, Sunday Swap is coming back. I promise you, I'm working on it. I'm trying to bring it back so that we can actually...
Yeah, that was always so cool.
Yep. And
Like
people loved it. It kicked ass.
Some of the shit that ended up hitting the table there was always really awesome.
So our next guest, can you imagine starting a shop with your father, Mark, and then
why are you directing that at me?
Not killing each other.
Well, that's out first off.
and making that thing run not even just as a good business, but having it at one time become the largest independent shop in your area.
That'd be fairly awesome.
Through hard work and good business practice. That's what our next guest has done here. Heather was nice enough to set this interview up.
Howdy. So Jake Cutler and his dad back in 2004 started Barnstorm Cycles, actually in a barn in Spencer, Massachusetts.
Better than a barn, in a carriage house, right?
Well, if you know, why'd you pass it to me?
Because I want to give you a shot, Blondie. Everybody likes to see you on the screen.
No,
so.
just kidding. No, I don't know about that. But anyway, so in Spencer, Massachusetts, and if you don't know Spencer, it's not too far outside of Worcester. It's a very small community. It's a beautiful community, but small. So to see them thrive there is even better.
That's a tough joint. Absolutely.
Yeah, it
and
really,
Worcester,
really is.
Incidentally, Mark, not spelled like you would believe.
Oh, you're kidding.
And actually,
How's it spelled?
let me channel my I'm back at home.
Worcestershire? No. What's this year's sauce?
So let me pretend I'm home with my family.
Oh boy.
Spencer, just outside of Worcester, is a small town.
So a lot of A's. Is that what you're saying? A lot of A's in this.
It's right down the road from Leominster.
Yeah. Not too far from Leominster, just outside of Worcester, small town, Spencer.
Oh,
right
God.
on. So let's cut to the chase here real quick.
Now he's ready to punch everybody in the mouth at this point.
Dickheads, I'm not coming on this show. I'm out of here.
These ass hats.
Jake, how you doing? You with us, buddy?
Hey, how you doing?
We didn't bust balls too bad. That was more for Heather than for you. We were busting her
I think
balls.
you guys are pretty spot on with the impersonation there. So.
Well, I'm from there, so.
Yes, that's
I
not.
didn't actually know that.
Yeah, I'm from there. I actually grew up in Pepperell, Mass.
One of her many
my
downfalls.
My family all still lives there, and I only really go back to my dialect when I'm at home or when I'm angry.
Because we pick on her too much here.
She goes straight back to it when she's pissed off. Straight back to it. One more time, I'm going to tell you, I smack you in the fucking mouth. Straight to it. Straight to it.
Default mode.
Yeah, right.
So, thank you for coming on. Let me get to what my job is supposed to be in the show, and is actually running things right instead of putting the wrong person's name up.
Let's not get carried away here.
Jesus. We went completely off the rails tonight, dude. This is what happens. Give us a good show. Down in flames. So, Jake, tell us about your story. You don't even look old enough to have a story of this kind of success.
Right?
Yeah, right.
Did you start this when you were 4?
Actually, I was 18, 19 when we started the shop, and I'm 35 now, so I think that math works out to 16 years, give or take a day or two.
Almost had to pull a
and
shoe off.
so to be, in all fairness, in all reality, the shop wasn't really meant to be a real business when we started it. It was actually kind of part of a school project when I was finishing high school, starting college. And I didn't really have any idea what I wanted to do when I grew up, quote unquote. We were like, oh, let's start a business for the experience. I had my father's support, and I come from a family of business people. So it was kind of like a learning experience more than anything. And it's kind of progressed to something quite different from what it started as. So.
Well, and listen, all joking aside, man, one of the things that we said on the way in with the show is that the part of the country that you're in is no easy game to do anything with motorcycles, especially like part of your business is fabrication and custom motorcycles. That's even a harder proposition up in the high Northeast. But I mean, saying that your family, you have business people in your family, and this was a project. This was a serious undertaking, especially for a young man.
Yeah, it definitely was. I had no idea what I was getting myself into when I started. And, the benefit of hindsight, probably would have done a few things differently. But I wouldn't change it for the world, that's for sure. So, and in the early days, it was awesome to be able to, work alongside my dad so intimately and so much. We did a lot of 16, 18-hour plus days, side by side on a lot of stuff. And we're still friends to this day. So that,
that's a feat in itself. I'm super close with my father and have worked the majority of my life right next to him. And, so God, that's a plus. I can tell you though, it's probably one of the most rewarding, beneficial things there. And what you learn, and on top of that, you see your future. I mean, we'll take that however you want. You see how you're going to turn out, because I am a lot like my father now. So, hopefully that's a good thing for you.
What was, tell us about that. I mean, other than the business side of things, growing up, this was your dad always into motorcycles? Was it, were you immersed in this from a younger age even?
Yeah, I would say that I was actually, first time on a motorcycle, I was while in my mother's womb. My father got his motorcycle. I'm pretty sure he actually, it's probably far enough along I can say this. I'm pretty sure he rode his motorcycle to get his license, like rode to the registry to get the license. So,
yeah, I think the statute of limitations is up on that.
And way of life for him. And so I grew up around that, from before I was born, right until, my earliest days. I got my first dirt bike, mini bike thing when I was 3 or 4. Whiskey throttled it into a curb, flipped over backwards, and the rest is history, so to speak. So we grew up around with hot rods, motorcycles, dirt bikes, and we were kind of always I like to say kind of a do-it-yourself household. To the extent that we were able to do it ourselves, we did it. And so from an early age, I was exposed to problem solving and troubleshooting and fixing things that broke out of necessity. So it was kind of part of my my just lifestyle and upbringing, and so that transitioned well as I grew up and got into stayed interested in motorcycling, if you will.
Well, even beyond motorcycling, that's we talk about this all the time, that like one of the great losses of the garage culture getting smaller like it has over the last few years is the fact that problem solving, a lot of us learned that as young kids, starting off with hold the light where I can see it, not where you can, which, eventually you got that into your head that it was about perspective and blah, blah, blah. But the problem solving thing, I mean, that bleeds through so much of life, man. You take that skill set with you in everything that you do.
Yep.
Absolutely. And it's definitely benefited me, far in my life, far outside of motorcycles, just in general, having that, a foundation that's kind of built on common sense and stopping, thinking and figuring stuff out. In fact, when I was, one of the earliest kind of bits of wisdom that was imparted upon to me was slower is faster and faster is slower. Where, just stop and think before you act, and a lot of times you can figure it out. So.
Yep.
So
go ahead.
Sorry,
Heather.
Chris, go ahead. Now, I'm familiar with the area that you're in. Spencer is a small town in Massachusetts.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you guys persevere and make it through that small town? Small town challenges.
We didn't start in Spencer.
Okay.
The shop started in our home shop, which was actually in Worcester, directly across the street from Elm Park, which is one of the oldest, if not oldest, parks or of some designation in the country, which is kind of cool. And so from like 2004 to 2010, we operated out of our carriage house. Chris, you accurately described the barn. It was in fact an old carriage house, complete with at one point horses and everything. We found old hay in the floorboards in places before. So, and then as the business grew and we kind of refined the business model, we kind of outgrew the home shop and really wanted to make a go of the business as more than just a hobby type thing. We started looking for an old mill building because we liked that. You can see it there in the shot. We wanted a building with some character and some history, and so we found this building after searching high and low through various towns and stuff, and we found this one in Spencer kind of last minute actually. And it was very, very dilapidated. It had an old bowling alley from the 40s on the second floor, and it was pretty much ready to fall down. So we bought it pretty cheap and ended up dumping a ton of money into it. I mean, way more than I was expecting. But we rehabbed and saved an old building, and it took us about 9 months to do the demolition and build out inside. And that was a whole nother learning experience. And again, fortunately for me, the business that my family is actually intimately familiar with is real estate. So I had a lot of shoulders and folks to ask questions of and connections to contractors and stuff. So that definitely streamlined that, I think, maybe more than the average person might have. And, and that's the building we're in today. So that was a whole nother kind of passion project, saving a 100-year-old building.
That is really cool. And I wasn't just being a smartass in the beginning. I think that's one of the coolest things. Like, I dig that the history of Americana, and to think about the fact that you guys did start that out of a carriage house. Like that's great. Mm-hmm. How many times have you pulled open the door of an old car and seen that Carriage Works logo from the body company?
Yeah, Fisher Bodies.
Yeah.
I got it tattooed on my arm. Yeah.
Yep.
So now currently at Barnstorm, you guys do a lot of different things. Do you have one particular aspect that you personally enjoy more than the other? Do you like building ground ups? Do you like just doing customizations, or, souping up a motor? Where's your passion lie?
Personally for me, the fabrication side of things is really what got me into wanting to do this for a living. I do enjoy swinging a wrench and doing, mechanical work as well. But for me, creating stuff that either didn't exist or modifying something to suit a particular purpose is really what gives me the fizz, as you might say. So that's kind of the area of the business I try to kind of hide in the back and weld some stuff together is what we joke around at the shop saying. But I've done a little bit of all of it. I'm terrible with paperwork. I'm terrible with billing. And so, we try to focus, everyone focus on what they're best at and what they enjoy the most. So, welding and fabricating and problem solving in any capacity is what really, gets me out of bed in the morning. But in particular with motorcycles, that's the stuff that I like. And in particular, my goal kind of with any project, whether it's a full up ground up build or just modifying an existing bike, I think like a lot of builders and fabricators, there's the challenge of blending form and function and finding unique or interesting ways to do that are personally satisfying and also satisfying to the end user or client. You know, that's just fun. You know, you're just problem solving all day, and it's always something new, and at the end of the day, someone gets to use what you've made and enjoy it and create new memories with it and stuff. So, you know, it's pretty multifaceted, but that's what I like to do the most is problem solve.
So let's talk about, I had that picture up for a second. I'm going to go back to it. Tell us about what's going on here. How do we end up with Jeff Goldblum in your selection of photos for tonight?
So that is kind of a dumb luck situation. I had nothing to do with the Jeff Goldblum aspect of that motorcycle. We were contacted by Tiffany's, the jewelry company in New York City, which I will completely admit, when I got the initial email asking about potentially building a bike for them, I thought it was like a spam email. I did not think was not even going to respond. And I was like, you know what, this could be real. I probably should at least email back. And I'm glad I did. We ended up through a referral from Indian, I'm pretty sure, which is kind of awesome that Indian referred us directly to them. I don't know if that was a mess up on their part, but anyway, we got referred to Tiffany's, and we were given a very short time frame to complete, a motorcycle. Basically, we ended up building 2 of these bikes. They're identical. One, because I guess Tiffany's keeps one of everything they ever make custom, and then one they sold as part of a 12 unique gift items of Christmas. So there was like a bunch of other stuff that they had in there, like a pool table and a really cool vintage looking oven, and you know, Tiffany's does some crazy stuff, and the budgets are kind of unlimited. So we were the lowest priced item on there. I think they sold the bike for like 35 grand.
Yeah.
So I think the pool table was like 100 grand. But that was a really cool project. I got to work kind of in a different area than I would ever expect to be involved. And turns out a mutual friend or a buddy of mine actually works for Tiffany's. And he's a bike guy. So we got to kind of coordinate. He was like the internal person. We were the external. We did all the fab and stuff, but he was integral in the design and the coordination of it. That was my buddy, Matt Landman. So wouldn't have been able to do it without him. And so the Jeff Goldblum thing, I guess they brought him in to do some promo in the new space that the bike was in. And so that was just kind of icing on the cake to a pretty awesome experience as it was.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
And we're building another, like a third version of that for the CFO of Tiffany's personally, because he's a bike guy. So, and he wanted one. He wanted to buy the one they were selling, but thought that would be in bad form. So now we're building him one personally with some other custom tidbits.
The moral of the story is you never take an email as spam.
Correct.
That's what I got on it.
Read everyone.
Good call on opening up that email. Just let you know.
So let's talk for a minute about some of your custom bike skills and the accolades that you've got through the years. Like not just being in Cycle Source magazine, which took us almost forever to get one of your bikes in, and I still apologize to this day for that. But I'm a big fan of a lot of the stuff that you do, man. Let's talk about where custom bike building has taken you.
Okay. Do you want me to just randomly?
Yeah.
Or it's again going from just a guy and his dad kind of goofing around in the garage for fun to building bikes for Tiffany's. I had as you see, the bike that you're showing right now is a Sandra Lee that was in one of Michael Lichter's shows in Sturgis. It's kind of brought me all around the country. I've made a lot of friends through this industry, some all really, really wonderful people. And it's been a lot more, especially in the last few years with some of the stuff we've gotten to do with Indian and Carrie and those guys. Like it's not, and that shot right there is from the original, shop. So we had a couple of lifts and a couple Kendon lifts that, I could get out of the way because the shop was so small. It was like, I think 1,600 square feet. But we also had to park like our regular vehicles in there for a while. And slowly it became full-time motorcycle shop. But we lived upstairs and worked downstairs. I mean, my commute was, 25 feet.
Which can be invaluable in the Northeast. at
Yeah.
the busy time of year for a custom bike shop, that's invaluable because not getting to work means everything's on hold.
Yeah. There are some downsides to living where you work. I definitely had some people on like Sundays wander upstairs wondering, if we were open and could I do a tire change or stuff like that. And you never say no. So, but
I think we have another shot of that. That's the same shop, right?
yeah, yep. So that's the original shop. And you can see, that was kind of every morning you'd roll the bikes out to make room. Every night you'd roll them back in. And, which is still, we bought a bigger building thinking we could get away from that, but we just fit more bikes in there. So you're still pushing bikes every morning.
More space, more shit.
Yeah. We went from
looking through
1,600
your
square
pictures,
feet to 10,000 and have the same space issues. So
looking through your pictures, you've built pretty much every style of motorcycle.
Mm-hmm.
You have a personal preference? Or do you just love them all?
I think that the variety of bikes that we've been able to build over the years kind of encapsulates my feeling towards motorcycles overall, and that is it doesn't matter what it is as long as you can ride it.
Amen.
Going back to something I said earlier,
Get an amen?
Gotta ride it.
was I do prefer motorcycles that are geared to be ridden as opposed to be shown. And there's always, depending on what the style of motorcycle and what its ultimate, intended use is, it will dictate how functional it has to be. But I'm not sure if I supplied any photos of I have a 41 knucklehead motor that's been in various chassis configurations, never in a stock configuration since I've owned it. But that was a rigid 4-speed kick-only bike, and that was my primary motorcycle for 6 or 7 seasons. I rode that's the Sandsworthy. That's a different bike.
Okay.
But I rode that rigid knucklehead for years, just fine. And, I'd strap some saddlebags on there and sometimes a waterproof bag on the front. Now I ride primarily touring bikes with a fairing and actual saddle. Yeah, that's the knucklehead there. So, that used to be my bagger, if you will. And now I ride around on usually we built a FXR with a 143 in it, SNS 143, and I rode that across country twice now. So that typically I'm more on a bagger now than anything, but that's another bike we built for a customer named Greg. That's the FXR I've ridden across country a couple times. We built that for Hot Bike Tour 2016, actually.
Oh, right.
And so I don't have a particular style. There's a DRZ in there somewhere that I sent photos of, and DRZ 400 that we that thing is a blast to ride. I mean,
dude,
somewhat
that looks cool.
Distances, but
that looks like a hell of a lot of fun.
Yes, sir.
If I had to pick one motorcycle, I would probably just curl up in a ball and die because it's impossible.
That's awesome.
One of each is the correct answer.
See, now that's you're on the same page as me. I'd have to have one of everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's
one
part
is
of why I
for-
started a motorcycle shop, by the way. Like,
Yeah.
I have an excuse to buy any motorcycle I can.
What?
There's no justification needed.
I do the same thing with cars. I own enough cars. I can show up one day a month with a different vehicle. Nobody ever knows what I'm going to show up in. So it works out perfect.
Hey, Chris, can you go to the Barnstorm Cycles website and
I can.
go to their inventory page?
What does your dad still work with you? Is he still in the shop?
He's not in the shop in person nearly as much as he used to be. Like I said, he runs a few other businesses as well, and he's still integral in Barnstorm, especially like kind of behind the scenes with the the administrative and business planning, financial stuff like that. He's kind of the guru there. I'm more the hands-on fabricator. I'm in the shop every day helping the team and trying to help manage that, but also get the welding and fabricating and build stuff done.
How many
So,
people work with you? How many people you have working in the shop?
It's varied throughout the years. It's pretty bad. I don't know off the top of my head, but I want to say we have about 10 people right now. Yeah. I'd have to double check that, but we've had as many as 17 people at one point. Right. But we really kind of slimmed that down. We have a really good tight knit team right now of really good professional people who are all kind of experts in their area. So it's probably the best operationally we've been ever.
Do you do your own engine? Do you do all that your own in-house?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. We farm out a few things like paint, powder coat, any like real specific engine machine work. That's not something we have the equipment to do.
Yeah.
But pretty much everything else we try to capture and keep in-house. So, because we have, then the quality control can be there and it's so much easier to anticipate deadlines and time frames and all that other stuff. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted Chris to pull up the knucklehead that you have listed on your first part of your inventory. It's the very first bike on there, Chris.
Okay.
The chopper, the Barnstorm. I just want.
Yeah.
So now again, you say you've been riding the bagger mostly and stuff, and this says it's a 2021. So you just finished it, I'm assuming.
We actually we did just pretty much finish it. However, that was that's a bike that we started back at the old shop. I'm going to be completely honest with that. We picked up like a rolling chassis that I think my dad was going to build for himself, and then realized he doesn't want to ride a rigid because he's not a sadist or whatever. But I don't want to call him old, but
we knew what you meant. It's okay.
Yeah. So
you can't, because he's probably our age if you're only 35. So watch it.
Yeah. He still claims he's 14, so we'll leave it at that.
Always.
He's Peter Pan syndrome, but that's a bike that we started back then, but it didn't have like there was no deadline, and you know how projects without deadlines are. So it changed forms a little bit and went back and forth. And then what really got me kind of jazzed on finishing it was I actually traded a customer some work for that girder front end. And when I got the front end, previously the rolling chassis had like one of those DNA springers on it.
Yeah. And
I'm looking at the front end, the girder that I did some work for, and I was just it all clicked in my head. So I took the frame, which is I think it's a Santee frame. I raked it out to get the trail numbers right for the girder, worked all that math out. And then that bike kind of started taking shape from there. So it's got an S&S knucklehead in it. It's a 93-inch S&S knucklehead, 5-speed, and then all sorts of just kind of fabricated bits and reworked bits and that kind of stuff to get to the end.
So let's talk about that just for a minute, because believe it or not, I just finished a story for next month's magazine with a cat that built, and I won't ruin the story for letting it come out, but he built a bike with an S&S knucklehead, and he was talking about how some of the old guys and the purists give him shit over it because it's not a real knucklehead. And I was like, yeah, but it's really not a real knucklehead. Like, I would give my left nut to get that S&S knucklehead, because you never have to worry about that. You can build a bitchin' motorcycle and you never have to worry about something happening with that motor.
Mm.
Yeah, no, you should say no. It's an updated, well-running knucklehead. Is what you ought to say.
Right.
That's how I'd sum that up.
Oh.
Yeah, my knucklehead runs. That's I'll see you at the show. Let me know when your trailer shows up.
But what do you think about that? Because you've had experience with both now.
Yeah, I mean, I have a 41 motor that I built with my long-term mentor, PQ, and it was actually I bought it from him as a basket case, and it had been apart for 16 years in boxes, and we put it together when I was, a young man in my early 20s, and so I put thousands and thousands of miles on that motor. Never had a problem. The only issue I ever had with that bike was the primary belt broke on me once. I've put significantly less miles on the S&S motor, but it's definitely It's a different motor. It's definitely different, but I mean, it's S&S. It's kind of hard to beat. So
Yeah.
I don't think. I think you're right. I think either way, they're a beautiful power plant, and that's really what separates them from the rest of the motors, in my opinion.
Yeah, man, and especially with today's prices, it's almost to the point that however the hell you could get on a knucklehead would be fantastic. But man, I think as a builder too, starting with, you know, I mean, obviously if I had the dough to get a knuckle and then go through every single piece with, you know, somebody who was an absolute expert in it, like I did the panhead, if I was able to do that, that would be great. But short of that, starting with, you know, a completely solid block foundation, man, knowing that, you know, you were going to build that bitchin' knucklehead chopper, that's just, I envy that a lot.
I've actually used 2 of those S&S knuckles now. One in the girder bike, which we were just looking at, and then one in the Sandra Lee as well. So I actually, on the same day, because it was all around the same time, we ordered 2 of the KN 93s and the S&S 143. So it was a big motor day that day in the shop. We were pretty excited.
Yeah, that would be a big be pretty excited about that delivery.
So meanwhile, as Heather brought us to this inventory page, Jesus, do you guys have a lot of motorcycles?
We have several. I think we're shooting to have about like 50 to 55 bikes in inventory for when spring kind of breaks. And I think we're on target to do that. The bike sales part of the business is much newer part of the business model. We always kind of dabbled, like anyone in motorcycles. You buy and sell and flip a few here and there.
I'm actually getting caught up in shopping. I'm like, wow, really? $7,000 for that 2008? That ain't. What's up with that?
Oh, good Lord.
And this is what I mean. You know, it's you know, this is the beauty of it, because now at any time I can, you know, take any one of those out for a test ride.
That's the nice part. Well, I think I need to take that one out. There was a small issue with the tire leak.
Yeah, you know, let's make sure that's tuned up. I got a guy coming in next week to look at it.
He wanted me to put 500 miles on it before he'd come to look at it.
So. Right on. So one of the pictures that we zoomed by was you at the congregation show.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come to be?
Those guys emailed me again, an email that I was like, is this for real? No, they reached out to me, and I'm trying to remember what year it was. I think it was 2017 or 2018 now. We had built the bike for the Lichter show, and that was a pretty awesome experience. And then those guys contacted us, and they were where is it? It was one of the Carolinas was the show. My memory's not great with these things. I apologize, but basically the venue is unbelievable, super awesome venue, unbelievable building. And you know, I know that bike, you know, kind of is unique in that it's blending a few different styles and you know, some stuff that might be considered outdated or whatever, but it's that bike in particular I built with my uncle, and it's a memorial to some family members of ours who passed away unexpectedly and sort of tragically a few years ago. So it was, that whole project was like a cathartic build that him and I did together.
Yeah.
So the fact that I got invited to the Lichter show was huge, and then the congregation show, you know, was just kind of icing on the cake. And those guys are super hospitable down there to us, and we hauled it down and stayed for a week, and we got like an Airbnb, and it was pretty cool to see it in that venue space, and yeah, it's any of those bike shows, it's just such a good community.
Yeah.
I mean you know what I'm talking about. I'm not very good with the words, but it's like coming home, but you never met any of those people before sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of good camaraderie with the industry.
Yeah, it's amazing. We were just at the Central Florida Wheels of Steel back in December, and the room full of guys that were there, I'm not even sure how many of them had ever met before that show, but there was, you know, some of the young up-and-coming performance bagger guys, and there was FXR and Dyna guys, and then there were chopper guys and vintage guys, and like they all got in the same room, and man, it was it was like motorcycles are the universal language, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just all of the borders you would suspect in that room full of guys disappeared in a minute, and they were all just kicking it. Good stuff. What about this? What about this Indian we got pictures of here?
Oh, so that's we nicknamed that one the BAM Challenger build because it was a collaborative effort between Barnstorm, us, Audette Motorcycles, our buddy Tony, and Moms of Manchester. The Moms folks own a few different dealerships in the New England area, and they reached out to us and Tony at Audette. Tony, super talented guy. I cannot say enough good things about Audette Motorcycles and Tony. He worked for Confederate for a while. He was in the military before. He worked for Swarovski Helicopters. I mean, the dude is genius, and he's amazing with CAD and computer drawing and that kind of stuff. So it was like a perfect pairing between us, him, and Moms, because they wanted us to take the brand new Challenger platform, and which I had kind of been aware of ahead of time through some other friends, and I was like real excited about the platform to begin with, because we've been doing a lot with bagger stuff in the last few years, and specifically with trying to enhance the performance aspects of touring motorcycles so that they're not just quote unquote geezer glides anymore, right? And that's a kind of a moving trend right now, which I'm into because it's function based. And so we kind of put our heads together and kind of came up with some ideas on what to do with that bike to that would, maybe open it up a little bit more. And the biggest stumbling point for all of us was the cockpit of the motorcycle and the handlebar options or lack thereof. So we came up with this harebrained idea to completely redesign the dash area of the motorcycle, which I didn't really know how to do or how we would approach it, but we did, and I think the results are pretty good. We had really good response to it. We actually designed like a parts kit around it, and we've actually sold 25 of them so far to other people or in shops. But the bike I think was a really fun project to work with a couple other shops and try and make something happen with a brand new model. It was super fun, and those guys are great to work with. So we're actually talking about doing another project soon here with the new chief.
Yeah, it's a really sharp bike, man, and people will say this again and again, that when you finish a custom motorcycle and it looks like it was made that way, that's a hell of an accomplishment.
Yeah, right.
Oh, thank you. That was kind of the idea, was kind of make it look like it was born that way. And the dash kit, I mean, we were 3D scanning and 3D printing and doing all kinds of stuff that I had never personally done, thanks to Tony and some of his contacts. And we machined and designed a whole bolt-on set of mid controls for that bike that just look, again, like the goal was to make them look like they were, factory, so that the whole bike was kind of like, just kind of make it look kind of like OEM plus, if you will, like it could have come that way. Like it could be a model from Indian, but it's not. So
I love just, before the show we started doing this, going through your pictures, and I love going through your pictures that it's just like, you can't make up your mind what the hell you want to do. I love it. That's awesome, man. Awesome. So Lisa Ballard was on here and says you're good people. A lot of people, look good, love the bikes, big family, like kids on the playground, love it. Steve Broyle says, but a lot of fans out there, and we sure appreciate you coming on. I'm hoping to see more stuff from you that we can get into the magazine for sure. And
you did forget, one person posted, they want to know what happened to your accent. Like there wasn't you weren't using your A's or.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Russ Nussbaum. That was one of the first things he threw out. It's like, what happened to this kid's accent? You sure he's from there?
Well, maybe like the rest of us, I do my best to try not to talk like I'm from Pittsburgh, and it slips out. But Heather does pretty good with shedding the Boston when we're out and about.
I don't know. It's effortless unless I'm at home. When I'm at home, forget it.
Yeah, it's funny when you get around your brothers and sister.
Yeah, but seriously, Jake, though, we'd love to do some stuff with you. I know it took forever to get that last bike on our pages, but please keep us in the loop of what you're doing, because you guys are doing so much good stuff there.
No, I appreciate you guys having me, and I apologize. I know we've tried to, you've invited me in to do a few of the other things that just haven't worked out. So I'm glad I was finally able to come through with something.
Sure.
Even tech, man. Like I'm looking at some of these pictures with you working metal shaping, doing metal shaping and stuff. If you ever want, like, we could run up for a weekend with you and shoot some Grease and Gears garage stuff and turn into tech for the magazine. I'd love to do that stuff.
Yeah, I'm open to whatever. If you got some ideas or specific things you want to see, or I can kind of fill you in on some projects we're doing. Definitely appreciate the support you guys have given us over the years, and happy to try and return it as much as possible. So
you
guys have been great to the overall community. So
you're doing a lot of good work.
Absolutely. Well, thanks again, man. Thanks for being on with us. We're going to cut you loose because we've had you on here for a good long time. Jason Holman actually just said should have Jake down for Wheels of Steel as a builder. I'd love to see that.
That's an outstanding
I'd love
idea.
to see that. Super, super talented cat. So, yes, sir.
well, thank you very much once again. I appreciate everything.
All right, Jake. So, in addition to barnstormcycles.com, everybody can go check you out on Instagram. Is there other places where they can keep an eye on what you're doing next?
Yeah, Instagram is probably the most up to date because it's so quick and easy. We're on Facebook too. I don't know, honestly, are people still on Facebook?
Yeah, old people that are trying to decide if they can still ride rigids are still on Facebook.
I'm not on like Twitter or TikTok or any of those other. I literally don't understand any of those things. It's amazing to me that I figured out Zoom. So it's.
I love hearing it.
I'm getting up there.
Well, no, listen, man. This is the greatest thing is we're watching a whole generation start to come up of people who are like, okay, I've had enough technology. I want to go into the shop with a hammer and a tree stump and beats the shit out of something.
That's right. Build bikes like before with an arc welder.
I love it. I love hearing it. Dude, I'm not going back to buzz boxes. I won't do it.
Oh, you haven't quite made it to Megan and Tegan yet, so you just lighten up there. You're getting there, though.
I'm Megan just fine. I learned aluminum, goddammit.
Oh, God. Well, me and Heather had to talk him out of spending $3,000 for a welder he doesn't even weld yet.
Hey,
so
listen. I was trying to explain to him the difference between having a Miller Dynasty and being able to adjust the hertz. Yeah, man. Once I saw that, I was like, well, I could weld aluminum if I could adjust the frequency.
It does make your welds look significantly better just by changing a dial.
You're not helping me.
When you can weld beautifully with a cheap welder,
he's talking.
Then you spend the money for the big welder.
So my first welder was a Lincoln Precision TIG, but at the time I was working for a gentleman named Danny Bermer at a welding shop, just doing production welding, and one of the greatest opportunities I ever had because I got to learn from a true expert. But he had a Dynasty 300 with the frequency control. So switching from his shop to my shop, it was like I went from being marginally good to terrible when I'd go back to my shop. But eventually I got pretty good with my machine, and I actually now own the same machine I learned on at his shop. I bought it from him a year or so ago.
Right on.
And so it's kind of like come full circle, and now when I switch it on, my welds aren't perfect. I just know I need to practice more.
Yep. Right on, Jake. Well, listen, thanks again for being on with us, dude. We appreciate the time, and we look forward to more great stuff from you.
Likewise. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Jake.
See you, Jake.
All right, so you guys are watching Shop Talk. Like we put this out every Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern-ish, 9 p.m. kind of. We're getting pretty close. We're kind of consistent.
Remember, sharing is caring.
Sharing is caring. We come to you live every week, 50 floors below the street level, through the courtesy of the Dennis Kirk Motorcycle Studio. Lots of sponsors there. We want to thank everybody. When you're looking up in the top corner and you see all those little things flipping by, those are people that are helping us put this show out. Choppertown, thank you to everybody over there for taking care of us the way that they do. But everybody, Chop Cult, Fueling, Drag Specialties, on and on and on. I can't say enough about all of our sponsors. Real quick, I'm going to take you guys through a litany of things that you can see us doing in and around Daytona. starting off with the Hardcore Performance Show. We're going to put these all up on cyclesource.com, so if you want actual full information about it, please check it out there. The entire Broken Spoke lineup. Broken Spoke is filled with stuff from start to end of Bike Week. Our custom bike show is happening on Tuesday at the Spoke. On Friday, the Dennis Kirk Garage Build Bike Show. You don't want to miss that. If you are a garage builder, you don't want to just go out to the typical, our show, the Rat's Hole, all the big shows where you might be competing against, builders from all around the country. You can still compete with builders all around the country. These are all garage guys. So Dennis Kirk puts this on. It's a killer show that they do at Sturgis and Daytona. The Pirowitz Paint Show, also happening at the Broken Spoke, has become a nice annual tradition at the Spoke. Warren Lane's True Grit. It's one of the ways that we kick off the week and get things going. Who can forget the reason to go to Daytona in the first place? Willie's Chopper Time happening on Thursday like it always does. And on your way home from Daytona, we're getting involved with a little program that Fish up at Alleyway is putting on in Jacksonville. Going to be a hell of a time. A whole bunch of us going up there to hang out and party and throw a little show there too. So lots going on in and around Daytona for the Source crew. And Rusty Wallace.
Yeah.
And Kenny.
Boogity boogie.
What a great show tonight was. I'm so happy.
Yep. Right on.
What time does it go live on Friday the 12th? Oh, the Dennis Kirk Garage Build Show starts at noon.
And we'll be doing, if you guys can't make it to Daytona, if you're, stuck out of state in another country, in another universe, or if you just wake up and realize you missed it, you can check us out through CycleSource, any of our social media, or through the website. We'll be doing live interviews and programs the whole way through the week.
You might get sick of us.
Yeah, probably will.
Maybe.
That's why I mostly make Heather do that stuff, because it's hard to get tired of looking at her.
Aww.
Wasn't that nice?
Wow. He wants that welder.
Pointers are very high today, honey.
He wants that welder, so let's not.
That's the Millard Dynasty.
No.
All right, man. Well, I'm gonna keep swinging. Just between that and the hammer I'm trying to get, and anything I can, extra stuff for the shop until next week when we have another 90 to 120 minutes, all the bullshit we can fit. We'll be coming back, same chopper time.
Same chopper channel. Walter, you shush your mouth.
You shut up, Walter. Bye, Felicia.
He said it. There we go.